find somebody who knows how it's working, because it's getting loose.
You may not find that person. It may be passed on. It's so long. But the only person who might know, Padre Narayan's. And he prepared a wonderful kartals.
What about Prabhupada Das? Where do you know?
Prabhupada Das.
He's in Arizona right
Where
now.
is he?
Arizona? Or no, actually, he might well be in Michael right now.
Yeah, the old ladies' crew is spread around the world.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha. Set it up in case, just by chance it comes. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhan Hari and Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhan Hari Yashodanandana Vrajana Randana Yashodanandana Vrajana Randana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mutpad Paramahansa Buddhacharya Ashtotar the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Buddhacharya Ashtotar the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Kwantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Can we crack that door a little bit? Get a little oxygen. Thanks. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jai Mudiriye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Koso, can you pull those curtains for me? Nashta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by running devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
On its 30th day of June 2017 in SanDiego, a reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in Canto 3, the status quo, Chapter 24, the renunciation of Kardama Muni, text number 18.
The volume, how's the volume?
You tell me. You can turn it down a little bit. I thought we'd make up for the lack of attendance. We just made louder.
The sliders to the far right, don't do the individual.
The red ones.
The red ones. Just a little bit.
Yeah, tiny. Tiny.
Tiny bit.
Where's Damodar? Where's Balaram?
Where did that dancer Lord Gauranga send?
I guess we can say that by regular attendance in classes in Srimad Bhagavatam,
Yes.
then you get it becomes established as an irrevocable fact, your devotion. And by irregular attendance in Srimad Bhagavatam, it doesn't become established. It becomes established as a wishy-washy fact. Can we say that? It's not being recorded. It's recorded up here.
You should add
Of course.
Is it
But-
true?
but that's a
You
fact.
tell me, is it true? Anyone who's regularly attending in internet land. Okay, here we go. I did put it on pause, so you don't have a device. Okay. Balaram has buried his iPad. He never uses it himself, never brings it for others. All right, we'll fix that later. Esha manavite garbham
Eshamanavite garbham.
pravishta kaita bardhana
Pravishta kaita bardhana.
tanaha avidya sanshaya grantim
Avidya sanshaya grantim.
chitvagam vichadishyati.
Tritvagam vishati.
Esha manavite garbham
Eshamanavite garbham.
pravishta kaita bardhana
Pravishta kaita bardhana.
avidya sanshaya grantim
Avidya sanshaya grantim.
chitvagam vichadishyati.
Tritvagam vishati.
Esha manavite garbham
Eshamanavite garbham.
pravishta kaita bardhana
Pravishta kaita bardhana.
avidya sanshaya grantim
Avidya sanshaya grantim.
chitvagam vicharishyati.
Tritvagam vicharishati.
Esha manavite garbham.
Eshamanavite garbham
Pravishta kaita bhardhana.
pravishta kaita bardhana
Avidya sanshaya grantim.
avidya sanshaya grantim chitvagam vicharishyati. Eshamanavite garbham pravishta kaita bardhana avidya sanshaya grantim chitvagam vicharishyati. No? Can you close the door? The noise isn't with the air. I think we'll do okay with that. You got enough air now. Got some replenishment. Eshaha, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The same Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Manavi,
Manavi,
O daughter of Manu.
O daughter of Manu.
Te,
Te,
your.
your.
Garbham,
Garbham,
womb.
womb.
Pravishtaha,
Pravishtaha,
has entered.
has entered.
Kaitaba ardhanaha,
Kaitava ardhanaha,
the killer of the demon Kaitaba.
the killer of the demon Kaitava.
Avidya,
Avidya,
of ignorance.
of ignorance.
Sanshaya,
Sanshaya,
and of doubt.
and of doubt.
Grantim,
Grantim,
the knot.
the knot.
Chitba,
Tritva,
cutting off.
cutting off.
Gam,
Kam,
the world.
the world.
Vichadishyati,
Vichadishyati,
he will travel over.
he will travel over.
So now Brahma is now directly addressing Devahuti. Lord Brahma then told Devahuti, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. purport. Here the word avidya is very significant. Avidya means forgetfulness of one's identity. Every one of us is a spirit soul, but we have forgotten. We think, I am this body. This is called avidya. Sankshaya granti means doubtfulness. The knot of doubtfulness is tied when the soul identifies with the material world. That knot is also called ahankar, the junction of matter and spirit. By proper knowledge received from the scriptures in disciplic succession, and by proper application of that knowledge, one can free himself from this binding combination of matter and spirit. Brahma assures Devahuti that her son will enlighten her, and after enlightening her, he will travel all over the world distributing the system of Sankhya philosophy. The word Sankshaya means doubtful knowledge. Speculative and pseudo-yogic knowledge is all doubtful. At the present moment, the so-called yoga system is prosecuted on the understanding that by agitation of the different stations of the bodily construction, one can find that he is God. The mental speculators think similarly, but they are all doubtful. Real knowledge is expounded in the Bhagavad Gita. Quote, just become Krishna conscious, just worship Krishna and become a devotee of Krishna. Close quote. That is real knowledge, and anyone who follows that system becomes perfect without a doubt. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chukshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara.
Just because everyone has a device and there's nothing on the board, what's the verse?
Oh, it is 3:24:18.
Thank you.
Sure. So now Lord Brahma has turned to Devahuti, and she is the most fortunate lady in the universe because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in her womb, and he is encouraging her that he will cut off all the knots of her ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. So we published a book. You may remember that book. This was a compendium of some of the conversations Srila Prabhupada had with Hayagriva Prabhu and Shyamasundar Prabhu concerning various Western philosophers. And the title of that book, which I cogitated up in my poor brain, was Beyond Illusion and Doubt. Because that is really the theme of the book. All of these philosophers, from Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato, all the way up through Nietzsche and Heidegger and some of these other fellows, more modern, they were all really smart. This is what they shared. They were big thinkers, and they contemplated, reality, what they thought was reality and existence and the meaning of life, based on often what previous philosophers had thought up, and they were taking it a step further and all that stuff. But as Prabhupada, responds to their philosophical statements, that, there's a selection, obviously, of each one's philosophy. What comes forward, first of all, in everything that Prabhupada says, whether it's this conversation on the philosophers or his writings in the books or his letters, is that there's no doubt there. That Prabhupada is absolutely certain of what he is saying. And the most important thing he's saying is that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you're his eternal servant. And that we're spirit, not matter, and all the other tenets of philosophy that we're familiar with. So that is a very important distinction. It's a key distinction. That the knowledge that we are given is absolute knowledge. And Prabhupada often talks about how if Krishna is an ordinary person, then what he says has no value. If he's just an ordinary man. So therefore the basic principle is that this is not an ordinary man. That's why it's the Bhagavad Gita. I remember some of Prabhupada's early lectures on the Bhagavad Gita. He would often give half the lecture on Sri Bhagavan Vacha, explaining that word Bhagavan. This is not simply another speculative book of knowledge. This is God speaking, and he's telling the absolute truth. And we have to have that. If we don't have an access to knowledge beyond our limited senses, then we're all swimming in the same dark pool of ignorance. And a few are, kidding themselves that they have some knowledge, but it's all covered, and it can't. The main point is it can't take us out of this morass of entanglement that we are in, which is based on avidya. This is the very important point. So when the idea of knowledge comes up, I always think of these verses of Rishabdev, which has the word avidya in it. If you forgive me, I'll share them with you. It's very illuminating in this regard. So first of this series, Prabhupada quotes all three of them in a purport. I think it's in this 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And this is one of these little sub-lessons within the teachings of Rishabdev as a whole. So he says, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya apinoti nasaramanye yata apano yat asannapi kleshada asadeya. So Nuna means certainly. Certainly they are mad, pramatta, who simply work for sense gratification. Indriya priti, which is exactly translated as sense gratification. Nunam pramakta kurate vikarma. So they perform what kind of activities? Vicious activities, without any reference to the Vedas. In other words, very sinful activities, whose only purpose is satisfying the senses. And that's the theme of if there is a theme, of the modern so-called culture. Hedonism reigns. Morality is out of favor. It's all relative. So nunam pramatta kurade yadindriya priti apranoti. And Rishabdev says he gives his opinion, which is conclusive because he's Vasudev, as he says in these verses. Nasadu manne. Sadhu here means good. It's not good. Not a very good idea, he says, in my opinion. Manne. Nasadu manne yata atma, because you're sure to get another body, a physical body with that. Absolutely 100% sure, which will bring you more suffering. So the very thing that you're looking for, pleasing the senses, happiness, is going to be crushed and destroyed by the very fact of what you're doing, because it's going to bring you another material body. And then the next verse is very critical. It kind of has an echo with the beginning of the Bhagavatam and also with the beginning of the Vedanta Sutra. So what he says there, Parabhavastava Dabodha Jato Yavan Jigyasata Atmatattvam Yavat Kriyastavad Idam Manovai Karmatmakam Yena Sharira Banda. So this has to do with avidya, with ignorance. So Parabhavas here means defeat. The human life is defeated. Not if you don't make enough money, if you don't get some position, but if you don't escape from birth and death. That's defeat. That means everything you've done is absurd, is useless, and you go around for another term. And if you have no control about your activities, you're simply enjoying, chances are very high you lose that human form of birth. So it's a really big defeat. So what is that defeat caused by? It's caused by ignorance. Here's the word is abodha. We know that the word buddha or buddhi means intelligence, knowledge. Abodha is just the absence. Abodha jata, born of ignorance, your defeat, the fact that we're entangled in this material world. So here in this verse, twice, he uses this, how do I call it, grammatical device of yavat tavat. Yavat tavat means as long as you do this, you'll get this. And often it's in the negative. As long as you don't do this, you won't get this. So the first one, listen to the yavat tavat. The tavat can come first. Padavavas tavat abodha jato yavam najigyasata atmatattva. Did you hear the tavat and yavam? So let's analyze. Padavavas defeat. Padavavas tavat abodha jato is born out of ignorance. So you will stay defeated as long as you do not inquire into the truth of the soul. In other words, as long as you don't make an effort to come out of this veil of ignorance, this fog of ignorance, you're going to, it's rocket science, you'll remain in ignorance and you'll be defeated. Birth and death. So, parabhavas tavadabod yavan najigyasata atmatattvam. Notice that word jigyasa. That word jigyasa is there in the Vedanta Sutra. Atata brahma jigyasa. Now, having come to the human form of life, one should inquire into the truth, the absolute truth, which is, where did everything come from? How is everything being maintained? Who or what is destroying everything? That's the basic principle of inquiry. So, padavavastava bodhajat yavan najigyasata atmatattvam. As long as you do not inquire into the truth of the soul, atmatattva, and the Supreme Soul, Krishna, you will remain in ignorance, and by that ignorance is sure to cause your defeat in life. Now, what's the result of that ignorance is that you'll act in ignorance, and your mind will remain karmatmakam, means filled with all of these fruitive desires and all of the things that we know perfectly well from our state of our consciousness before we ever heard about Krishna. That's called karmatmakam. How can I enjoy this? How can I escape this danger? How can I, this is karmatmakam. So yavat kriyas, as long as you act fruitively, it's kriya in this. Tavad idam manovai karmatmakam. You keep acting fruitively, your mind will be filled with fruitive desires. It will be karmatmakam. Yena sharirabandha, by which you will remain bound up to a physical body. It's all very nicely put together in that verse. Prabhupada quoted this all the time. So what's the solution? So third verse, the last verse of the little lesson. So first he recapitulates. Evam manak karma bashan payunte avidya, here's the word, avidyatma nupadiyamani. Thus, the mind saturated with the karma bashan means impelled by karmic fruitive desires. Avidyatma nupadiyamani, and covered by ignorance is the source of the whole problem. And then the third line, the sun rises. And it comes here again, yavatavat. Priti niyavan mai vasudevi namuchate dehi yogena tavat. The third line, he says, as long as one does not develop love for me, he now reveals Vasudev, right? Reveals he's Vasudev. Until and unless one develops prema or love for Krishna, there's no question of getting free from the bondage of the body. So that is the ultimate knowledge that Srila Prabhupada is giving, and Krishna gives it also in the Bhagavad Gita. And all of our books are based on that knowledge. So now back to Devahuti and imminent birth of Lord Kapila Dev. So Prabhupada says this word. Now, what is Brahma promises that first of all, this is the same Lord Vishnu who killed Kaitaba. So this is near the beginning of the universe, where there's Kaitaba and who was the other one? Madhu and Kaitaba. They stole the Vedas, which is significant. He's talking about knowledge here. So Krishna killed the demon, rescued the Vedas, returned them to Brahma, and they're coming back down to us. So he'll cut off the knots of your ignorance. Now, why is this word grunta used so often? Grunta means a knot, or something that ties two things together. So what it does, as Prabhupada makes it clear, is tying the spirit to matter. It's caused by ignorance, and that ignorance causes doubt. Anything we think we know, we think, well, maybe not, because we've had so much experience of false knowledge. And whatever we know hasn't helped us to get out anyways. So it's useless knowledge. So cut off the knots of your ignorance and your doubt, and then you will travel all over the world. Now, when I read this just now, I was thinking, he's traveling all over the world. Prabhupada is, by Prabhupada traveling all over. Yes, through the books, through these chapters. When you read these chapters, this is like a revelation. And now, through Prabhupada's great effort, they're going all over the world on the internet. Anyone can access this knowledge now. It's very wonderful. So, cut off. Now, it's interesting that they're cutting, because this is used, as you may recall, I've been quoting this verse fairly recently, often recently, and that is that the words of the Guru are cut off. In Krishna's words in this verse, which I'll cite, is he's cutting off the strongly held material desires in the mind. He says, "Tato duk sanga mutsraja satsu sajjeta buddhiman santa evasya chindandi mano vyasangam uktibi." So the word chind is there, just like it is here. So here he's saying this is a wonderful coda. A coda is something that comes after a piece of music or a poem or something. To the Ila Gita. The Ila Gita is in the 11th canto. I forget the reference. I can give it to you. Which is Pururva. When you go through the Bhagavatam, these personalities become fixed in your mind. Pururva, who became enamored of Urvashi. Remember? Urvashi is this, of all the heavenly damsels, she was the chief, most beautiful. So she came down specifically to seduce him. I think it was one of these things where Indra was afraid he was getting too powerful, or whatever. Anyway, it's a long story which I won't go into, but he becomes totally infatuated with her. And I won't tell the whole story, but she leaves him fairly, and then he's just like heartbroken. For years, he's practicing all these austerities, and finally, he gets to go to the planet where she is, and she says, all right, one day a year you can be with me or something. He says, oh my God, And finally, he's totally into it. I mean, he's lost himself. Finally, this Ila Gita, his song of renunciation, it's quite remarkable. He says, I remember this line, am I any better than a worm and stool? I'm trying to enjoy this body, which is just matter, and the worm is in the stool. I serve the lips of Urvashi, and it's finished. So it's gone, it's finished. So, after this Ila Gita, which is part of the Uddhava Gita, and Krishna is reciting, then he says, therefore, tato duksanga mutsraja, give up all bad association. Utsrija means throw it far away, get far away from it. Don't fiddle with, play around with it. Tato duksanga mutsraja, satsu sajjeta buddhiman, be intelligent and associate with devotees. Sanda evasya chinna demonavyasa, because the devotees, and he's speaking about, real devotees, advanced devotees, pure devotees, with their words, they can cut off or cut to pieces the strongly held material desires in your heart. And we saw that with Prabhupada. He had so many meetings with people who came off the street. I'm thinking of Mahabodhi's story about he met Prabhupada blasting him, and it worked. I mean, he was highly committed to material life, as all of us were. But Prabhupada's word, this is the great value of book distribution. Prabhupada's words are there. So many people, they get inspired to come to the temple or keep reading, get more books, chant, and become involved. Because the words of Prabhupada are so powerful, because there's no doubt. They realize he's transmitting the words that are coming, from previous acharyas, from Krishna directly. So it's completely pure and potent to really cut off our material desires and attract us to Krishna. So, Rishabhde's, words are very, very instructive, that the only way to really get free of all these material desires is to develop our attraction to Krishna. There's no question of liberation without prema. This is again and again reiterated. So we're on that path, although that isn't our goal. That can be one of the emphases to practice strictly. In the fear of material world. How many times did Prabhupada talk about the threefold miseries, birth, old age, disease, and death? That's the problem with you Americans. You're not afraid enough of Maya, This is all the desire to, let's go back to Godhead, back home, back to Godhead. But you find as you practice, Krishna consciousness, really, the desire becomes more for Krishna, more to serve Krishna in any situation. And that includes liberation. That's one of the byproducts. This becomes clear with Bilva Mangal Thakur's famous verse. She's waiting by the door to serve me with the Anjali. In other words, bhakti includes liberation as one of the initial benefits. But when Devahuti, as you'll see in a few verses when 25 comes around, she approaches him as if she's a conditioned soul. Oh, my senses are giving me so much trouble. You are the axe to cut down the forest of my illusion and all this stuff. Please enlighten me. And this is she's giving us a model of how the disciple should approach the guru, and should feel that we're hopeless, we're helpless without the words and the instruction and the care of the guru and his representatives and Krishna himself. So then, these sankshya here are also, now doubt and ignorance go together. If you're not sure, if your knowledge is imperfect, then you can't really be sure about it. And you have experience in your life of believing things are true and then finding that they're false. I mean, that's life is full of. We get cheated all the time. I'm just giving a similar example comes to my mind. I get some herbs online, So I came across this, and I wanted to get some Goda-Cola, Brahmi, Indian stuff, So I bought this Brahmi, and I found out it's interesting. Goda-Cola is slightly different from Brahmi. So that was good. I had that for months, and I've been taking it, putting a little smoothie and everything, this nice green powder and all this stuff. And, all right, it's organic, supposedly. So then I'm running out, so I order it again. And it's coming from India, So even though they're certified and everything, I open it up and it's a completely different thing. It's like, wait a minute.
So
And
which one was bona fide?
the first one, I think, because it was green, it said, oh, this is a leaf, anyway.
Maybe
One of
it's
them is
diamond.
I wrote to them, So I'm reconciled. Okay, maybe I was cheated, this and that. It wasn't that much money. But the thing is, that happens all the time. The whole material energy is doing that. The whole big change up is that you can be happy by. Sorry, I'm getting a cramp in my feet. There's too much jumping up and down. This old man. And so that's the big come on. That's the big change up. Maya's job, or thankless task, is to trick us. It's to trick us into thinking, first of all, you're the body. I got a pretty good body. I can build it up. I remember when I was 13, I started doing lifting weights. Can you imagine me, a skinny little? Oh look, total ignorance.
Did you pose in front of the mirror?
Of course. 13, 14, 15. But so what could be more illusory than that? I mean, it's obvious this body, as Prahlad says, is just a reservoir of all kinds of diseases. So what kind of vehicle is it for enjoyment? I mean, you soon get experience, you don't have to grow up to get experience how sometimes there's pain, sometimes it's, a lot of pain. So, but still, my SW is, well, maybe this time I can enjoy this, and if I just do this, just get this money, move here, go there, meet this person, give up that person. It's one thing after another.
Solve that problem.
And so it's a huge illusion. So naturally, there has to be some doubt if this is the right way to go, right? I mean, but you take a chance, and anyway, that's material life. So it's just a field of guesses and attempts, to follow your imperfect knowledge, and then being cheated again, and then maybe this. That's material life. So all of that doubt is like they're like knots here. That they're binding your heart. Are destroyed when you actually come to the right source of knowledge and you receive it in the right way. Now this is right at the beginning of the Bhagavatam. This is such a key element. It comes up again and again. The second verse of the whole Bhagavatam, which is really quoted more than the first, Dharma projita kaitavota. In this Bhagavatam, all the cheating religions are kicked out. Dharma projita means thrown far away. Cheating religions, or dharmas, means that which is based on some material desire. What is real dharma? That which awakens love for Krishna, which includes, is completely transcendental. So, and it's understood by those who are not envious, so right away they're getting into the persons how you have to be in order to receive it. Satam Vejam, it's a real vastava vastu. And it's a great phrase in Sanskrit. Vastava vastu means the real thing, the ground of being, that which is, vastu means thing, and vastava means the thing that is most thingy. That's really substantial. Shivadam, which gives all good fortune and uproots the threefold miseries. Well, that sounds interesting. Sounds interesting. That's right. So what is it? Srimad Bhagavatam, he names it, which is composed by the great Muni Vyasadeva in his maturity. And then it says, Sadyo, Ishvara Sadyo Rindivarujate, that if you just hear it, then the Ishvara, the Lord, will be manifest in your heart. But then he gives a caveat, Shushushayo, which Prabhu translates variously as ardent hearing, submissive all reception. And Shushusho also carries with it the idea of service. In other words, you're hearing, eager to hear, and then you carry out the instructions. That's the mood that we have to hear Bhagavatam. And if we do, then the Lord, it's non-different from Krishna. He's appeared as a Bhagavatam, that verse he chanted every time he gives class, Krishna Sudama Bhagavate. He's returned, but he's caused the sun of the Bhagavatam to rise and to give enlightenment to us. And so the Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. And if you hear it properly and take it into your heart and try to follow the instructions and apply your intelligence, then all your doubts will be destroyed. And Prabhupada makes it clear that this knot of doubt is non-different from ahankar. Ahankar means I'm the doer. Ahamkara. I'm the doer, thereafter I'm the enjoyer, and I'm the master. Complete ignorance, right? So, the junction of matter and spirit. When we'll hear in a few chapters, because after all, it's Sankhya Yoga. So there's a lot of analysis of how this material world, how it comes to be. And you see that it's the false ego in contact with the different modes of nature that produces the senses and the sense objects and the sensations and everything else. And so notice that in the other kind of yogas, it doesn't immediately attack or address the false ego. With Hatha Yoga, it's all body basically, right? And with the Jnana Yoga, maybe the intelligence. Karma Yoga, the senses. Okay, Bhakti has an element of all of those. But the Bhakti Yoga, immediately you start with the hankar. The first thing that you do to show your sincerity, bow down. Right? That's that's a direct attack on that false ego. You're hitting it with a hammer. So it's all like, getting rid of that sense of independence and I know what to do and I'm the enjoyer and all that stuff. It starts from day one, from hour one, minute one in Bhakti Yoga. And to be successful, Trinadapi Sunicena, you really have to. False ego is really what's and that's the interface. So by proper application of the knowledge of what to do in Krishna consciousness, then the false ego is dissolved. He said it's almost like digested. And that'll be one of his instructions here. Samshaya, doubtful knowledge, speculative and pseudo. So all that doubt is destroyed if one is really sincere. And then Prabhupada sums it up at the end. Krishna, just become Krishna conscious, just worship Krishna, become a devotee of Krishna. Sarva dharma parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. And I'll protect you. I will free you from all anxiety. Because anxiety is caused here by this doubtfulness and all of the threats. Because our little house of cards is always, of what we build up in this world is always threatened with destruction. But if you
Not just threatened.
it's absolutely certainly due to be destroyed.
And we see it.
You can see it. So as it says, isn't it in the Bible, build your house on the rock of, rock of ages, that's transcendental truth and knowledge. So I'll read this translation again. My dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. Any comments? Maharaj?
Yeah, I actually have to run. I apologize for this. So if it keeps going, it's not that she said something that upset me or anything. I have to get up. But you said that if we come to the right source, then we become free from doubt.
Yeah.
But we find that we're devotees. We've come to the right source. We've taken up the service attitude. We're trying to engage in serving the message of Bhagavatam and hearing the message of Bhagavatam. But we all have moments of doubt. So what's that all about?
That's our...
Doubt about?
Yeah.
Are we all just louts?
The absolute certainty, we're trying to come to the stage from Gyan to Vigyan. Gyan to Vigyan. This is described in the second chapter, first canto. That, okay, we've come to the point of having some taste for hearing. Okay, we're sitting in the class here, or we're chanting, and we're trying to and Krishna's working for us. He's in the heart there. Srinvatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana. Krishna in the heart is cleansing away. And the more that he cleanses, the more the abhadras are gone, till even they're gone to a great degree. Nashta prayeshu. Prayeshu means almost. Then you come to the point of nishta. Nishta is firm faith, which is exactly the opposite of doubt. It's not 100%, because there's still some remnants of the, but you're certain, you're certain that, it's defined, what do you think, give a definition, that just by doing the activities of Krishna consciousness, all my aspirations will be fulfilled. Even if whatever I have to do in terms of maintaining this body, I'll do it in a Krishna conscious way. There's a way, obviously, to eat, to work Krishna consciousness. So that's the nishta platform. But it doesn't stop there. It goes on. Then the lower modes are gone. You no longer, troubled and by lust and greed. And then evam prasanna manasa bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagawatsaptaha vijnana mukta sangha. Then continuing, you become more and more joyful. This is going up the ladder from ado shraddha, nishta, and then ruchi. Everything becomes more
But
taste.
sometimes we see that my point is, I mean, I appreciate all that.
Yeah.
That's the best case scenario. But we find that devotees don't always go up
No,
that ladder.
that's right. The point is, it's a struggle until we get to the point of bhava and prema. We can still flip back. It means that what we were certain about before, now we're uncertain about, and because we've allowed the modes of nature to come in. It's a sadhana. It's a straight as the gate. It's a thin path. So the fault is in ourselves. The doubt is coming because we are not shushu show.
So it's like,
that's the point.
because I've had to visit some people in the hospital.
Right.
It's like the medicine will work, but it's got to, if it stays in a pure state, but the medicine is efficacious. The medicine will work, let's just assume.
Yeah.
But if you keep throwing in pollutants and contaminants, it's not the fault of the medicine.
That's the point.
The medicine will work, but if you keep adding other conditions, other contaminants, other problems, other impurities, well, don't blame the medicine. If you'd stayed in that pure environment and had not introduced contaminants, the medicine would have done its job.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, one of the big problems devotees have is, basically from a lack of reading, let's be honest, is that they don't know the standard. They think, well, I've been a devotee for so long, and I'm not experiencing this, and I still have so many doubts. But what's the quality of your devotion? Are you strictly following? What do you do? How many offenses are you? You're not getting up early. You're not doing this. You're not doing this, and you're doing this, and you're still I'm a devotee. That's part of Maya's trick. She's convincing you, that why are there so many upper sampradayas? We don't have to follow this shastra. We're chanting Hare Krishna. We don't have to worry about the 4 regs. We're chanting Hare Krishna. And why only Hare Krishna? Let's chant something else. It's just, you go off. The point is, all right, step 1, surrender to an actual acharya who's really this. That's the problem. And that's why, there's 5,000, as you pointed out, that the photo in front of the New Dwarka. How many of those devotees are still around? And what is, some of them are, some of them not, whatever.